anybody anytime is welcome to interrupt me or say something or comment or question, whatever is. So, as it goes, all Fausis are very fond of telling stories. And if you meet them, they will, they will bore you with their stories. They're endless of them from daily life. Nothing like something of a great gallantry all the time, or some kind of bravado. But a normal routine life has so many things to share, because we all live life. It's a very very intermingled life. Professional life and personal life is quite intermingled. So we all stay together. We know each other's families. We know each other well. In fact, my talk, the Facebook post that I made, and I got into the habit of writing small anecdotes for last 4 or 5 years. After I think just before COVID, I started this. So the person whom I have mentioned there, my friend, my course mate, uh, group captain, now retired, BAS Acharya, BS Sandesh Acharya. He was the only one from the Air Force who joined, of my course mates who joined my marriage as a Barati. And he traveled all the way to a remote village in Bihar, Samastipur. My in-laws place is near Pusa. So बारात में वो गया और वहां उसको हिंदी की एक लाइन नहीं आती थी, but he enjoyed the most. So that is the kind of spirit people have. We start getting used to each other, and we like enjoy each other's company. So it is there are many stories of my training period, which definitely was a big shock to us, because when you are in the final year of engineering, you are at the top of the world, because everyone in the college is junior to you. So you think you are the king, you are the boss. And when you reach as an engineering officer, when you reach the training institute, you are brought to the ground, to Mother Earth, literally. So those stories are endless. And right now I'm not going into that area. Basically, it reminds me something about which, both my son and my wife take a dig on me. And that date is important. If you all look at the calendar, 13th January 1989 was a Friday. So as popularly, Friday the 13th is not supposed to be a very auspicious day. And I started for my marriage on that day from Bagdogra. So if something happens and I tell my son that, see how your how your mom is talking to me or what she is doing to me, then he'll say, who asked you to start for marriage on 13th of January, Friday the 13th? So it is something like that. Anyway, so after marriage, in Bihar and in my community, uh, people used to get married very early. And when I got married, I was just about 23, 24 years of age. In fact, 24th birthday I celebrated after my marriage. And in services, there is a rule that firstly, you shouldn't get married before 25 years of age. But if you get married before 25 years of age, you are not entitled for certain privileges of a married officer. Like, you will not get a married accommodation and status accommodation for that matter. So those were certain kind of typical situations which one had to face. But in any case, since I was getting married before 25 years, initially my CEO questioned me why. And another thing, just to put things in the right perspective, before getting married, you have to put up an application for permission to get married with Indian nationals. That is, again, and I'm revealing some of the secrets of war. So your commanding officer approves that you are permitted to go and get married, then you get married. And you have to give the biodata of something like it becomes an official parental matrimonials kind of supervision. that you have to give the details of your would-be wife and her parents, etc. And then the commanding officer signs the permission to get married. So when my commanding officer was signing that permission, initially he was not very keen. He said, "You're very young. Get married after 1 or 2 years." Then, as it happens, I told them that my parents are very insistent and I cannot disobey them. So those were the kind of things. Nowadays, these kind of excuses will not work, but it worked those days. So fine, I got married, and my friends and everyone in my unit told that, see, after marriage, you are not supposed to come alone. You are supposed to come back to the unit with wife. And my wife, then she was a student. She was studying in St. Xavier's College, Ranchi. She was in final year of geology honors. And I don't exactly remember whether her classes had were discontinued for some reason or she had taken leave, but she accompanied me to Bagdogra. And when we were coming there, I told her on the way that I don't have a house there because I am not authorized for a house. So I don't know where we are going to stay. If my friends have made some arrangement, we'll stay there. So those days, service accommodation was a problem for officers. Not many houses were there, but there were 2 rooms temporary accommodation which some of the officers had. And one of my friends, a helicopter pilot, he was newly married, maybe a year before I got married, and he had met with an accident, unfortunately. So he had to be sent to Command Hospital, Kolkata, from Bagdogra, and his wife had also gone there. So his 2 room accommodation was available, and my friends made an arrangement to make me stay there. So we had a fully furnished 2 bedroom, 2 room, not 2 bedroom, but 2 room accommodation where we stayed. And though I thought that it's a pretty good accommodation from Air Force standards, but when my wife entered and she, in fact, second or third day, she asked me, "Are you an engineer?" I said, "Yes." She said, "Then this is the kind of house you people get for engineers," because she was referring something which she saw in Mekong, where her father was there, that a perfect duplex house and well furnished and everything was there. So when compared to that, it was nothing. Anyway, so
Mhm.
that was that was beginning of my marriage, kind of come down for her. So switching gears, people in services, you'll find many people who are very, simple, very down to earth, and at times uh, things happen in a way which you don't expect. So I'm now switching to a different side. This is about my unit. uh, in units, there used to be DSC guards, Defense Security Corps guards. These are people who used to retire, who were retired army personnel, generally infantry personnel, and they were given the duty of guarding certain installations, and their duty was only to do the guard duty. So they were all very much part of armed forces. They used to wear uniform, but a separate corps was used made for them. That was called DSC, Defense Security Corps, and people were infantry soldiers who had earlier been retired from infantry. So we had that a platoon of that in our unit because we had some special task, and they used to guard certain installations because the manning was 24/7. Uh, One day it so happened that one of the DSC Jawans who was on duty, he he just dropped dead. Literally, he dropped dead. He was on duty, standing, and he fell and he died. And the doctors in the group will know and they will understand better that what happened, what could have happened that, but under those circumstances. But we all thought initially there were many, many guesses which were being made, but all the legal procedures are followed. Like in this case, proper autopsy and everything is done. And so when all this happened, we have a system called court of inquiry. When anything unusual happens, an officer, a commissioned officer is supposed to be heading, depending upon the situation, um, the seniority is decided. And there are other members of court of inquiry who assist the officer, certain JCO level officers, junior commission, and other people. So you have to literally do it like a court, in a way that you record evidences, you try to find evidence in whatever way that it is there. Now in this case, I was the presiding officer, so I tried to. This was my first court of inquiry of this kind, where I was inquiring into the circumstances of a death, which was supposedly not a battle casualty in any case. So one had to consider all the possibilities. So the doctor, the local doctor in the unit was a good friend. So I went to him, I talked to him, and he gave me the autopsy report. I also recorded his statement. And when all this was done, I realized that since this Jawan was on duty, so I have to show him that he died while on duty. And if somebody meets such kind of unfortunate situation on duty, the compensation with the family gets is different from when somebody is off duty. So my intention was to take care of that aspect. The person had gone, but the other things had to be taken care of. So I called his company Havaldar. He was a ex Gorkha regiment soldier. He retired as Havaldar, and in DSC also he was Havaldar. So I asked him to bring the duty roster, the guard book in which all the names are entered, and with the timings that so and so time to so and so time, so and so was duty. So, and since he was a witness, and he had to present that evidence as that guard book as an evidence. So he came with the book, with the duty roster, and he opened that page in front of me. And I was shocked when he showed me the page, because he has struck down his name, the deceased soldier's name, and written some other name over there. उस पे लाइन को कट करके उसकी जगह पे दूसरे का नाम लिख दिया था. So I questioned him, what have you done? ये आपने क्या किया है? तो वो in that typical गोरखा accent he said, साहब जी वो तो मर गया था, तो हमको तो गार्ड पोस्ट पे किसी और को भेजना था. So उसका नाम लगा दिया, इसका नाम तो हटाना था, तो उसको हटा के दूसरे का नाम लगा दिया. Anyway, I had to use the evidence, and at the same time make sure that things, because the court of inquiry, when you send the proceedings, it goes to a higher level, and then the approval, etc., everything happens, and then the rest of the process starts. So I had to use my some kind of ingenuity to handle the situation. But this is not intended to be a humor, but a kind of situation, just to reflect how simple people are. They sometimes don't realize that by doing something they think they are doing very sincerely, they are harming their own colleagues. And I know that he had no intention of harming his colleague, but he did that. So that is one anecdote which I wanted to share here. Okay, changing gears again. This is another story of somewhere, I think, around 1992. So I was supposed to be leading a convoy of radar from Dadri is near Ghaziabad to Bagdogra, which was the total distance was around 1200 kilometers. And we had a huge radar. Radar, when I say, it has different parts, different sections. Like there'll be an antenna vehicle, there'll be a transmitter vehicle, there will be a receiver vehicle, then there'll be various communication vehicles, power supplies, huge generators of the order of 125 kVA or so. So the entire convoy, taking a convoy of that size, 20-25 vehicles, was a kind of nightmare those days. And you can imagine, or you know, what was the condition of roads, particularly in this particular build. Now, I had done a recce before taking the convoy because I was interested with this task also. So I had traveled in the Mahindra Jeep from Ghaziabad to Bagdogra near Siliguri, around 1200 kilometers in 3 days, which was a very, very fast recce those days. And while doing the recce itself, I realized that what stretches of road were manageable and what stretches of road were very difficult. And that too for a vehicle of a huge convoy of 20-25 vehicles with very sensitive equipment and very heavy equipment. I don't know how I compare it. It will be like you move containers, huge containers by road, 20-25 containers. So, and the antenna vehicle had some peculiar shape, some amount of clearance on both sides in all the three dimensions. Vertically also was required. So I had made notes, and I started, but I knew that there was a patch when you enter the border of when you enter from UP to Bihar, like after you cross Gorakhpur, there are areas, there are places called Kushinagar, and there's a place called Pipra Koti, Tampuhi Pipra Koti, and then you go on to Muzaffarpur and those kind of places. But that area, when you go from Kushinagar towards Pipra Koti, Gopalganj also comes in between. So that entire area had virtually no roads in 1992. It was national highway, and there were ditches which were as deep as 3 to 4 feet. Now imagine uh, huge trucks and container kind of vehicles crossing uh, in that area and taking them without making sure that the equipment doesn't get damaged was a huge task. So I had one more senior officer with me in the convoy who he was a squad leader then. I was a flight lieutenant. So he was the head of the convoy and I was assisting him at his deputy. So we planned it in those days. The roads were not very good, and since we had very huge vehicles, we had planned that in a day we will not travel more than 200 to 300 kilometers. Our average speed used to be around 30 kilometers per hour. So 7-8 hours of drive and then rest for the entire convoy. And the convoy had everyone. Like the convoy had all the people who are driving the vehicle and the people who are supposed to go and install the radar there to do the interconnections, everything. So we had all the technical tradesmen and everyone. With that, we started, and we used to take night halt at some Air Force station. The last halt was planned before entering Bihar. The halt was planned at Gorakhpur, and we had planned one extra day there because we already had traveled some about 800 kilometers. So after 800 kilometers, we had one extra day. And the next day, in the morning, early morning, we started with our convoy. I was heading the convoy, and my leader, squad leader, Jan, if I remember his name correctly, he was very happy. He said that, see, Ashutosh, the road is so good and the road is empty when we left Gorakhpur and we are heading towards Bihar. So I cautioned him, sir, have you noticed one thing? I said, yes, tell me. I said, sir, there's no vehicle coming from the other side. We are only going from this side, and we have a virtually empty road, but there's no vehicle coming from the other side. So probably there is some trouble. And I did know that I'll prove myself correct so soon, because the moment we reached that patch, which was a bad patch, uh, there was a huge jam. Huge jam, road completely blocked road from both sides. All kinds of trucks, buses, and all the vehicles were there. And so we were told that when you land up in such kind of difficult situation, approach the local police. So we tried to get in touch with the local police, and they said, sir, आप लोग कहाँ जा रहे हो? आप लोग नहीं जा पाओगे, आप लोग वापस लौटो, आप हवाई जहाज से चले जाना है, आप लोग का जहाँ एयरफोर्स है गोरखपुर चले जाइए, वहां से हवाई जहाज से ले जाइएगा सामान, you you cannot go, ये होगा नहीं. And some of my men talked to the other drivers, the civilian drivers who are the truck drivers, bus drivers, etc. They said that हम लोग 2 दिन से जाम में यहाँ फंसे हुए हैं, यहीं पे हम लोग खाना बनाते हैं, खाते हैं और रहते हैं, और पुलिस वाले तो कुछ कर नहीं पा रहे हैं, तो आप लोग देख लो, आप लोग जा पाओगे नहीं जा पाओगे. So but anyway, somehow we managed. It was month of May, and it was very hot. Temperature in any case was above 40 degree on the road. So we used some technique without getting into too much of hassle. We used to clear the road for around 50 to 100 meters and move our convoy. We started moving the vehicles. We had some armed guards also, so used their services as well. So with that, that stretch of 20 kilometers, we were able to cover in around 5 to 6 hours. We covered that stretch and we reached Muzaffarpur. And incidentally, Muzaffarpur is my hometown also. So I knew there. I had already spoken to Rakesh ji. I think आपका वो muted नहीं है. Okay, thank you. So when I reached Muzaffarpur, there is a place called Chakkar Maidan in Muzaffarpur. If somebody who's familiar with Muzaffarpur knows, and there is a Railway Engineers Regiment, a territorial army unit. So basic job of Railway Engineers Regiment those days was to, firstly, during wartime, when the movement of troops is done by railways, to assist Indian Railways in in achieving that, the troop reinforcement, etc. And this was also used during the Railway Engineer Regiment, was also used during the now well-known strike of Indian Railways in 1974. So some of the very important trains were run by the loco pilots of Railway Engineers Regiment, who are basically territorial army personnel. They are, you can call them part-time soldiers. Like, they do very rigorous training for 3 to 4 months, and the rest of the time of the year, they can do their own business. They could be farmers, they could be businessmen, they could be engineers, anything. So that unit was there, but some of the staff are supposed to be from the regular army, even in the territorial army. So I had spoken to them, and they had made arrangements for our night stay. They had limited resources. Another good thing about services is that you reach some unit at some place, they're not very resourceful. They may not have very good resources, but be assured that you will be provided the best of the services. Like, they will not share their poverty with you, they will share their richness with you. So that is the kind of motto which is normally followed. So yes, they made all of us comfortable, and I had requested before coming there, I had requested the local CO over there that please don't open the bar for my men, because we had made a rule in the convoy that if there is only night halt, then people will not use the services of bar. If there is one extra day halt, which was planned in between our journey at some places, so bar is permitted and people can go and enjoy themselves. And if suppose at some place we are supposed to only make night halt and next morning we are supposed to start from there, so bar services should not be availed and bar should not be open for the people on that day. But anyway, I had told this to the commanding officer before we reached there, the commanding officer of the Territorial Army Unit. I'm specifically mentioning about it because I talk something related to it later. So when we reached there, the entire convoy, all the men who are part of the convoy, at least 50, 60 of them, were dead tired, and we they were all they were thirsty, they were hungry, but whatever food that was possible on the way, we managed for them. But of course, when they reached a unit, a station for night halt, definitely they had some uh, good food, something sumptuous, I would say. So we decided that next day our halt was supposed to be Purnia, next halt. So we told them that okay, we'll start a little late because all of you are tired and you need some extra time to sleep. So we'll start 1 hour late. Okay, so next morning, all of us lined up. The vehicles were lined up, all prepared. The daily servicing had been done. When we reached the parking bay, we found that all the vehicles were ready, and we just have to board, and the convoy started. So we started the convoy again, but this time the road was a little better, not as bad as it was on the way. So the vehicle in which I was sitting, I had some suspicion, though the driver was perfectly in order. He was driving the vehicle well. I said, भाई भारती, I think his name was भारती. भारती, आज तो बहुत कमाल कर दिया तुम लोगों ने, एकदम सब गाड़ियां टाइम पे तैयार थी और बिल्कुल आप टाइम पे सब कुछ निकाल के आप लोग तैयार हो गए. तो मैंने कि सर हम लोग तो रात को सोए ही नहीं. मैंने कहा ऐसा क्यों, सोने का अरेंजमेंट नहीं था क्या? नहीं सर, वो जितने अपने टेरिटोरियल आर्मी वाले जवान थे ना, उन्होंने बार खोल दिया था हमारे लिए और कहा कि आप लोग इतने थके हुए हो, एक दो तो आपको लगाना ही चाहिए, तब आप ठीक से रिलैक्स हो गए. सो that's how it happened. That what we had expected, that they will have a good sleep in the night, they all didn't sleep, rather they preferred to enjoy their drink. And then we took our convoy, and finally we reached without any accident, without any injury. All the vehicles, all the equipment were intact. But then this was another kind of experience in both ways. Okay, so this was something I found humorous. Now something personal now. This is when I was going to join service, it was against the wishes of everyone. I think I mentioned about it earlier. My friends told me, "What are you doing? You have so many better things to do. You can do so many good things." One of my professors, he wanted me to do some research, and he was recommending me to one of his friends abroad. So he told me, "You go there and you help him." Uh, and my father wanted me to do some higher education. He said, "सिर्फ graduation करके नहीं रहना है," because in his days he had done BSc AG, BSc Agriculture, and because of he wanted to MSc AG also, but because of financial constraints of the family, he could not do. He said, "You have no such constraints, so you should do post graduation at least before you take up a job." So I told him that when I joined Air Force, in Air Force there is a provision that if you do well, they have a selection process, there are written tests. If you pass all that, you'll be sponsored for your MTech or post graduation. And with all these kind of conditions, I was finally allowed to join service, which I did. So before joining service, I had a few jobs in campus interview, and I had also had good gate score. Those days, there was no NEET or NET or whatever. We used to have gate. So I had a good gate score. I think 98, 99 percentile was supposed to be a good score to get admission in a good institute, good IIT. So I had that score. So I was pretty sure that when my turn comes for MTech entrance test in Air Force, I'll be able to clear it and I'll get selected. So that was the minimum qualifying service was those days 7 years. So after I had 7 years of service, I appeared for the entrance test and I did well. I think I have done. I thought I have done very well, and and then it takes around 4 or 5 months for the results to be published of the written exam. So there are two papers in written exam. One is for maths and one is for the technical. And both the papers I thought I had done exceedingly well. So I was almost 100% sure that I'm going to clear it. But when the results came, my name was not there in the list. And it was a shock to me. And my immediately my senior squad leader Jan again, he knew me well. He said, यार तू जानता तो सब कुछ है, लिखता भी सब कुछ अच्छा है, लेकिन तेरी हैंडराइटिंग इतनी गंदी है ना, किसी ने नंबर नहीं दिए होंगे उस पे. तो something like that he told me. So I felt a little disheartened and shocked. More than disheartened, I was shocked. So after at that time I had gone on a detachment. I was alone there. After a month, I was supposed to go on leave because my son's Mundan ceremony was there at some place in Bihar. So when I went home, my wife, my mother, my father, all of them were sitting. We were having our morning cup of tea. So I broke the bad news to them that I flunked the exam MTech and everyone knew in the family that I have appeared for MTech entrance test. So I told them that I could not pass. Immediately my mother said that नहीं कुछ तो गड़बड़ होगा, वो ऐसा नहीं है, वो कुछ तो रिजल्ट में गड़बड़ हुआ होगा, तो इसलिए ऐसा. My wife also said the same thing. Wife को तो डांट के चुप करा दिया कि क्या तुम बच्चों जैसी बात कर रही हो, ऐसा रिजल्ट में गड़बड़ थोड़ी होता है. Father was kind of he was trying to console me. He said no problem, फिर से appear होना, ऐसा थोड़ी कि एक ही बार appear होता है, next year appear. And then the matter ended there. I came back from leave, and usually after entrance test, there usually no, this is part of the process. An interview is conducted after written test where it is conducted by a panel, inter-services panel. So all the representative of Army, Navy, Air Force, IT professors and DRDO scientists, they are there and they interview each of the candidates who pass the written test and ensure their eligibility for post-graduation. So it's I consider it, I appeared for GATE and I appeared for this exam, but I felt that this exam was more, I wouldn't say tough, but it has more stringent process as compared to GATE. But anyway, so for that a signal comes that these people are fielded for interview at so and so IT and so place. So I came to know that one of my friends, his interview signal had come. So I congratulated him that, yeah, congratulations, you are going there. He said, congratulations to you too. I said, why are you congratulating me? He said, yeah, you are also going to one of the IITs for interview. Like, no, I didn't pass the written test. He said, who said you didn't pass the written test? I told him the signal, my name was not there in the signal. Then he said, no, the signal that I received in that your name was there. Then we further investigated and we came to know that was the year was 1990, 92, 93. Those days we used to have the mechanical teleprinters, and mechanical teleprinters had they were connected through landline. They used to operate on 50 baud speed. Those who are familiar with these kind of communication systems, and there used to be relay communication. So from one point to another, when a signal is typed, and then from that point to another, somebody retypes, he receives the signal, retypes the signal, and sends it. So since it was a long signal, probably the teleprinter operator at one of the relaying stations made a mistake, and in that he skipped my name. So the signal, while in the actual result my name was there, but the result which was received in the unit where I was available, my name was not there. So that's how it. But later on, of course, there are many things which came to which were revealed to me that I really done well in that exam, and I, of course, my first choice was IIT Delhi Computer Science, so that was given to me. So that was a sigh
Hello?
of relief, but that
I
is
can't
an
hear.
experience.
Suddenly you went
Sorry,
off. Hello?
Prueshji, I can hear you, sir. Can you hear me? Okay, Dr. Jha has given a thumbs up. Okay, so that is part of kind of uh, happy and sad moments which I thought I'll just share. Not exactly a humor, but yes, some kind of humor also. Then there is another really humorous incident which I thought I can talk about. So, in flying stations, the air traffic control is manned by completely all the airfields which are Air Force owned airfields. The air traffic control is manned by Air Force personnel. And there, those of you who have seen ATC building is a huge building. Every floor has got specific purpose. The top of the building is the tower, which 360-degree view is manned by controllers, and other floors will be technical personnel. Communication is most important. Communication, navigation system, etc. So even if there is no flying in the night and the airfield is closed, still the air traffic control tower is manned, and all the floors are manned, uh, depending upon what kind of services are being provided, like meteorology or communication or navigation or radar. So it so happened it was I am talking of one of the Air Force station which is in the far west, and I was posted there, and it was night of Diwali. Uh, and all of us were celebrating Diwali at home. And back of my mind, I thought that there'll be some people in the tower who will be doing their duty, and they're not celebrating Diwali with their families, and they're there alone. So uh, I thought I should carry some sweets. So I took a packet of sweets and went to the ATC, to the technical area. The family area is always separated from the uh, technical area or the flying area. So the family where families stay, that area is called Adam area, and the area where the operations take place is called technical area. So it was a night, in any case, Diwali night. So I wore uniform, and I took my I-card, and I took a packet of sweets and started my scooter, went to the ATC. And of course, when I reached one of the all the floors were mad. So at one place, when I opened the door, I found that the lights were on, but there was nobody there. And so I was surprised, and I thought that is not correct. Now the in charge of that cabin was an MWO. I will not name him because this is being recorded, so I will not name that person. Uh, he had a residential. Those days, residential phone were very rare, landline phones. So he had a residential phone. He had given them because he was an important person. So from the same cabin where I had gone to offer sweet to the person on duty, I called up that MW's number and to ask him that where has this person gone? He's not on duty. So when the moment I dialed that number, the other side person picked up and said that, hello, Swan, speaking from RT cabin. And I'm standing in the RT cabin. The other person whom I rang, he's speaking from his home, MW. He's not supposed to be on duty, that MWO, but he was supposed to have kept someone on duty here. So he said RT Kevin. Uh, then I said, MW Saab, I'm so and so speaking, and I'm speaking from RT Kevin, and you are speaking from home. Now tell me what is happening. Then he said, I'm extremely sorry, sir. ये लड़का वहां पे अकेला बैठा था, कुछ काम था नहीं, तो मैंने उसको बोला कि तुम आ जाओ मेरे घर दिवाली की मिठाई खाने, और वो नंबर जो है उसको फॉरवर्ड कर दो मेरे नंबर पे, मेरे घर के नंबर पे। तो उसने जो आरटी केविन का नंबर है वो मेरे घर के नंबर पे फॉरवर्ड कर दिया। और चूंकि हमें सोच भी नहीं सकते थे कि आप इस तरह से आके आरटी केविन से ही कॉल करेंगे, तो ये हो गया गलती। Anyway, that was a situation where everyone could have laughed, but since he was not on duty, I told him, okay, ठीक है तिवारी साहब, आप उसको मिठाई खिला के आप भेजिए, और मैं यहाँ वेट कर रहा हूँ क्योंकि मुझे भी उसको मिठाई खिलानी है। तो that fellow, when he turned up, I left the cabin and you know, so such kind of situations also happen. It is a serious problem. Such things should not happen. That cabin should not have been unmanned, but he did all that in good faith. So I also did not take any further action. Just that the next day, I gave them some kind of moral lecture that this should not be done, and I didn't take any action against them. I will say that. And in at the same place, same station, another thing happened after a couple of days. You know, when the flying take place, particularly fighter flying, then nobody is supposed to cross the runway. Of course, any flying takes place, nobody is supposed to cross the runway. But in airfield, the layout is such that you have various navigation aids at different parts of airfield. And sometimes either you take the peripheral road, there is a peripheral road all across the runway. So in a normal case, one is supposed to take the peripheral road when you have to go to the other side of the runway. Now, we had some extensive flying happening, and there was a navigation system on the other side of the runway which had developed some fault, and we needed to replace some module there, which was in the workshop here. So one way was to go through the peripheral road, which could have taken anything between 1 hour, but we were operating on standby system from the other side. Standby system is not supposed to last for a long time, around half an hour or so. So sometimes the permission is given from air traffic control when the runway is clear to cross the runway for certain specific regions. So I told my MW that you keep the module ready in the vehicle, and he had the walkie-talkie ready. I told him, when you get a call from the tower, cross the runway and take the module and replace it there. So, and he was supposed to give a call after reaching the runway crossing on the walkie-talkie. I was myself there in the tower where the air traffic controllers were sitting, and they were giving calls. So I was monitoring everything from there. And I asked the air traffic controller. He said, yes, sir, when I give them call, then they should cross. So when the vehicle reached the runway crossing, he asked permission. So-and-so reporting at runway crossing, permission to cross. Now when he said permission to cross, from the other side, from the air traffic control, the controller said standby. Standby means please stop, don't move, wait for next instruction. Now This is where something like, that famous incident of Mahabharat, that Ashwathama Hatu Narova Kunjaro, and when the Kunjaro was being spoken, um, Lord Krishna played the game. उन्होंने कस के शंख बजा दिया, conch shell. He blew the conch shell, and that Kunjaro got submerged. So something like that happened when the air traffic control gave a call standby, and this person was monitoring on his walkie-talkie. Then the aircraft had switched on the fighter had switched on its afterburner. When the afterburner switches on, the engine noise goes multifold. You can't hear anything. So when this person said standby on the walkie-talkie, that because of the engine noise, the MW could not hear, and he, in a way, he started in his vehicle. And I could see that from the tower, that today is the day. I don't know how many lives we are going to lose. And of course, there will be a number of court of inquiries and court martials and whatnot. But luckily, good sense prevailed. He saw the aircraft taking off, so he stopped. He had started moving. He saw the aircraft taking off, so he stopped. And that's how the day was saved. So these are the kind of instances which are, they're done in good faith and in all simplicity. People make mistakes, but they could have very, very dangerous repercussions. So I had a sigh of relief, and everyone else in the cabin, in the air traffic control, they had a sigh of relief, because somebody had done the right thing when everything was going wrong at that time. Okay, so these are some of the operational hazards or stories which I thought I'll share. And the last one, which is again a personal experience. This is something. This is a kind of anecdote which my wife wrote, and it was published in another Fauji magazine, services magazine, which I'm going to talk about it. So when we go to Wellington Staff College, after clearing Staff College entrance and all that, when we get selected, we go to Wellington. Those days, going to Staff College was very prestigious. Even now, it is supposed to be that way. You go there, and all your basic needs, when the moment you land there, all your basic needs are taken care of. So 20, say around 24 years back, owning a phone was owning a landline phone with STD connection in services when you land up at a place was people of middle rank like me. Then I was a squad leader. Was a big achievement. So getting a status accommodation when you reach a station on posting again was a big thing. Getting a housemaid in house before you reach your house was something unheard of. So when Staff College, the admin requirements are very well taken care of. You land there, you go to officer's mess, you're straightway offered a cup of tea and snacks, and then there are counters lined up. There's somebody who's ready with your gas cylinders, somebody ready with your house keys. Your luggage has already been offloaded in your garage. You are given various other things, so much so that you are given ration for a week, uh, which you are going to utilize. You are going to cook there. So those kind of things are, something which when we reach any station on posting, we struggle for those things. But here everything is on a counter and it is given. Now I think things must have changed, because the way people live has also changed. But 20 years, 25 years back, we had that typical middle class style of living, and everything was not available easily. So when we reached there, we were very happy, and we had both gas cylinders loaded in a. I had driven down from Jamnagar to Wellington, which was a total drive of around close to around 3,000 kilometers. Me, my wife, and my son, all three of us. So when we reached there and we were received well, we were very happy. Uh, Gas cylinder was loaded in my Maruti 800 Ricky, and since The other two cylinders could not come in a Maruti 800 uh, boot, so it was kept on the rear seat, second cylinder. And so my son had to sit in my wife's lap. When after he sat and he was about to start the car, my son suddenly started howling, crying in pain. And my wife didn't know what happened. Uh, and she was trying to close the door. Then I realized that my son's his hand was trapped in the car door, and she had not looked at it. Anyway, so the only counter which was left, which we had not visited, was the MI room counter, MI room, medical inspection room counter at that reception. So we went there, took my son there, doctor examined him, and he said, "This is the only counter which people do not visit, but bad luck to you, you have to visit it." So he examined, he found that prima facie there is no problem, but if required, we'll take an X-ray. We'll take an X-ray in the hospital tomorrow. So bring him to the hospital if there is a swelling and or the pain doesn't subside. He said it should become all right by itself. Give some cold, some ice pack and something like that he gave. So with that, when we came to our the house which was allotted to us, I came there and being a technical officer in communication some kind of communication background, I immediately started making my telephone operational, started connecting it. And then I realized that something has bitten me on my palm, on my left palm. And there were marks of two fang-like mark, two needle-sized marks on my palm, left palm. So, and it was oozing blood also. So it appeared to me that it could be some reptile, maybe a snake also. So I told my wife that something has happened and she was in panic. Luckily, I had another friend who was in the next building. She called him and he took me to the hospital to examine. Doctors looked at it and he said, by examining, he said it looks like a snake bite. So did you see the snake? I said, no, I did not see the snake, but I was trying to put my hand there to pull the wire and then something had bitten me. He said, so we have to keep you under observation. We don't know what, if you have a snake bite, he said 99% it looks like a snake bite, but we don't know whether it was a poisonous snake or non-poisonous snake. So we have to keep you under observation. And so that was a situation. We were at all, it was a completely new place. My wife and son, they were all by themselves in that house. Luckily, there was a maid servant there, and I was in the hospital. The moment I landed, I landed up in the hospital, and I had absolutely nothing to do there because uh, I, I I felt I have no ailment, I have no problems, and I was fully conscious. But they kept me in hospital for 2 3 days, and then finally, uh, doctor doctors, when they were satisfied that I'm all right, because they said uh, there's certain snakes like crate and all uh, whose venom it it starts affecting you after some delay. So we have to keep those kind of things in mind. So you have to stay there. So anyway, somehow with lot of pleading, I was discharged from hospital by the specialist after 2 days, and I landed up home. So like that, I think I've spoken now about more than an hour and many stories that I could think of. But there are many more, and many of you would have heard from many others. So I'll stop now, and I'll request people to unmute and if anything. So thank you everyone. Dr. Jasa. Uh, I know that some of the stretches must be boring, but yes, I just try to recount some of the stories that I had in my mind. Sir, Dr. Jha sir, you have raised your hand. You can unmute yourself.
एक एक छोटा सा कमेंट पहले.
Hmm.
You started for your marriage on 13th. I was actually married on the 13th. 13th of May happens to be my marriage anniversary.
Oh, very nice, sir.
And I was born on the 13th.
Oh.
13th of September. So, and this is in Christian belief system, Christian 13th, Friday.
Friday the 13th, yes.
Friday the 13th, Judas betrayed Christ. In our system, 13 is not a bad number. At least not for me, for my parents. I'm the first child of my generation. My mother was called a mother when I was born. So, and then I was married on 13th, and I'm not very unhappy, to say the least. And what do I say? Yes, it was like reading an adventure novel sort of thing. And just to share something very personal, this evening I was to be in a sumptuous cocktails dinner. We had a conference of what we call Rheumatology Association here, and the secretary at present is a brilliant junior, Devnis Case. He organizes conferences very well. The academic content is of very high standard, and so are the hospitality service. So just imagine, I had to miss a dinner for your talk. So you owe it to me. Whenever I am in Noida, एक दो लगाना पड़ेगा at top quality scotch and whatever you feed me. As your
Anytime,
officer,
sir.
क्या था कि
Anytime,
एक दो वो कहाँ पे मुजफ्फरपुर में टेरिटेरियन आर्मी वालों ने बार खोल दिया था. Well, I personally, this is my personal opinion. I just lost track of the time. एक घंटा गुजर गया पता नहीं चला. And I again repeat my comment. Physically now, while we are sitting across a screen, yes, you are a good storyteller. And डॉक्टर चौधरी आज हैं कि नहीं, वो मेरे पीछे पड़े रहते हैं कि आप लिखते क्यों नहीं. मैं आशुतोष जी के पीछे पड़ा रहूंगा कि लिखा करिए, लिखा करिए. Well, you have a way of telling stories, and I personally enjoyed it very much. Lost track of the time. When you said it's an hour, then I looked at the watch. Thank you very much for a really lovely evening.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. By the way, sir,
And the bargain was not bad. I just missed a dinner with a lot of my doctor friends, but the bargain was not bad.
Sir, so
Thank you,
nice.
Ashu.
I'm really privileged,
Thank
and I think, yeah, I'm really honored that you joined this session. By the way, sir, I'm a teetotaler, and throughout my 27 years of service, I never had a drop of alcohol. In fact, it.
That's great.
In fact, there had been many occasions when I was forced, particularly when there is a promotion party, farewell party. My first promotion, people forced me as much as they could. I said, nothing doing, I'm not going to drink. They said, why? तुमने कसम खाई है क्या? मैंने कोई कसम नहीं खाई है. Just that I don't feel like. So, but I enjoy the company of my friends. I used to spend so much of time in bar, and they all used to say कि तुम सारी मूंगफली खा जाते हो और दारू तो पीते नहीं.
ये टीटोटल्स के साथ यही प्रॉब्लम होता है. जो सारा स्नैक्स वो खा जाता है क्योंकि उसको पीना है नहीं. और मेरे कुछ दोस्त हैं सर्विसेज के, उनके यहाँ बड़ा जब जाओ तो जो उसका रहता है वो सेवक जो भी, वो आके पहले पानी एक गिलास तो बाद में रखता है, पहले बॉटल और 2 ग्लासेज रख के जाता है और कुछ खाने की चीज, उसके बाद पूछता है साहब चाय पीजिएगा क्या. तो है, लेकिन है.
But you are most welcome, sir. I really enjoy company of people. In fact, almost all my friends drink except me when I'm there. But I enjoy
कब आना होता है. I have some friends there, some relations there.
जी.
एक ही प्रॉमिस है कि उस तरफ आना होगा तो मिलूंगा जरूर. If you are there,
बिल्कुल सर, most welcome.
मिलूंगा जरूर.
Most
And we'll
In fact, I
spend an
request.
evening together. And
जी,
I can spend evenings without drinks. मैं कोई ये नहीं हूँ आज.
नहीं नहीं,
Totaler नहीं हूँ, but I'm not into a regular.
I serve drink, but I don't drink. That is
That's
my
still better.
And anyone who's visiting Delhi, Noida is most welcome, and it will be a pleasure meeting all of you. Anyone who's coming this side. So, in fact, वो उसकी भी कुछ कहानियां हैं सर, वो ड्रिंक की, वो मैं कभी ऐसे चलते
फिर एक सेशन इस पे हो जाएगा. Or I need not say in so many words that anytime you are in this part of the country, if you visit Ranchi, you have a place where you can drop in at any time of the day and night, and you will be welcome.
Thank you so much, sir. As such, रांची आना overdue है मेरे लिए. हर 5-6 साल पर मैं जाते रहता हूँ, लेकिन इस बार जाता.
हाँ, रांची से तो पुराना कनेक्शन है ही है. As a student, then your in-laws were from Ranchi. Yes. अभी मौसी जी है ही यहाँ, मौसा जी है.
अभी एक मामा भी है वहाँ पे.
अच्छा. वो कहाँ है रांची में?
वो सर, he retired as the chief engineer from Bihar government, and he's settled there. And his name is, he's from my college. He was my senior in the college, PIT Misra. He passed out the year that I joined. He passed out in 82. I joined in 82. So, but he stays in Ranchi, somewhere near Vasundhara cinema.
अच्छा, ये वसुंधरा गार्डन्स है, वसुंधरा होम्स है, वो इसी रोड पे है, मोराबादी वाले एरिया में है.
जी, उधर ही कहीं पे. पहले एक वसुंधरा सिनेमा होता था सर, विमेंस कॉलेज के पास, जो तालाब.
वसुंधरा सिनेमा हॉल था ना रांची में.
जी, विमेंस कॉलेज के पास था, वो लेक जो तालाब था उसके पास था हम लोग.
हाँ, एकदम बिल्कुल.
Right, sir. Thank you everyone. So I think, shall we close? I don't see anybody coming up. Sir, Pravesh sir, you are muted.
Sir, good evening, sir. Good evening.
Sir.
Can you hear me, sir?
Yes,
Actually,
sir.
I'm not well, sir. So, but still, मैं रोक नहीं पाया. पूरा सुनता रहा, वीडियो, कैमरा और ऑडियो बंद करके. और दिन में काफी धूप में मैंने मैंने प्लान किया था कि आज मुनगा का पेड़ लगाऊंगा. तो 2 पेड़ लगाए, धूप में गड्ढा खोद के और लगाने और डाली काटने में पूरी जान निकल गई. इतना मतलब वो पसीना निकला कि ऑलमोस्ट 5 बजे लंच लिया, उसका सो गया था. बट अलार्म लगा दिया था मैंने 7:15 का. तो एनीवे, बट मतलब आई वाज कंप्लीटली मेस्मराइज्ड. और आपको मैं बधाई देना चाहूंगा, वाकई बड़े बहादुर इंसान हैं, क्योंकि आपने कहा कि मैंने अपनी बीवी को डांट के चुप करा दिया, जो कि मैं आज तक
गुड वन सर.
ये तो मुझसे आज तक नहीं हो पाया.
वो मेरे पेरेंट्स थे वहाँ पे, इसलिए मेरे पेरेंट्स.
यहाँ पर तो हम लोग कह ही सकते हैं, असलियत कुछ भी हो यहाँ पे कह सकते हैं.
नहीं, दिलीप जी, ये क्यों आप मान के चल रहे हैं कि आशुतोष कभी झूठ नहीं बोलते हैं?
इसीलिए मैं कह रहा हूँ कि यहाँ पे तो कहा जा सकता है, भले
लेकिन मान लिया जाए कि इन्होंने डांट के चुप करा दिया.
मैं तो
उम्मीद, वो तो भाभी जी से मिलने के बाद मालूम होगा.
राम प्रवेश, जस्ट 1 सेकेंड. सेशन शुरू होने के पहले मैं रिक्वेस्ट करने वाला था आशुतोष को कि आज शर्मिला टैगोर जी को ले आते तो अच्छा रहता. अभी लग रहा है नहीं लाए तो ठीक था.
सच्चाइयां बाहर निकली, वरना वो काफी एडिटेड हो जाता है. मतलब वो स्टोरी फिर एडिटेड हो जाती तो इतना मजा नहीं आता. ये बात तो सही है. और दूसरी बात, वो जानना चाहते थे कि वो जो जैम लगा था, वो आगे कुछ बिल्कुल वाकई कुछ रोड मतलब टूट गया था, पुल टूट गया था क्या? ये जैम का क्या बताओ? पुलिस का एटीट्यूड तो बड़ा ही तो प्रेडिक्टेड था कि वो आपने फिर भी हटा के आप निकल पाए. जैम का वजह सिर्फ ह्यूमन फेलियर था.
कुछ नहीं था सर, रोड वहां पे बिल्कुल ही बाढ़ के कारण पूरी तरह रोड क्षतिग्रस्त थी। वो जो स्ट्रेच था वो, आप यूपी से बिहार में एंटर करते हैं, कुशीनगर है गोरखपुर से, कुशीनगर से आगे एक जगह है, वहां से बिहार में गोपालगंज में आप घुसते हैं।
अच्छा अच्छा।
तो वो जो स्ट्रेच है वो बाढ़ के कारण क्षतिग्रस्त था, और आई डोंट नो फंड की प्रॉब्लम हो या जो प्रॉब्लम था, या दो स्टेट्स के बीच का बॉर्डर का एरिया था। 20 किलोमीटर्स का जो स्ट्रेच था उसमें
अच्छा
वर्चुअली वो, there was no, you couldn't see any I would say a milligram of bitumen on that road. बिल्कुल टूटा
अच्छा
हुआ गड्ढे थे और कुछ नहीं था, तो पूरा
अच्छा अच्छा।
जाम था। और पुलिस वगैरह, और वहां पे कोई डिसिप्लिन तो होता नहीं, कोई कंट्रोल करने वाला है नहीं। ट्रक वाले इधर
या
से जा रहे हैं, उनको क्रॉस करना है, और इधर से, और बस वाले हैं, और दोनों से मतलब हेड टू हेड
समझ
टाइप का था गाड़ियों
समझ
का। सो
नहीं मैं कि वो मतलब वो पुलूल तो नहीं था।
वो बहुत पुरानी बात है सर, ये
और तीसरी
करीब
बात सर बोलना चाहता हूँ कि
32 साल
I'm
घटना के
happy,
हो गए, 32।
तीसरी बात
जी
बोलना चाहता हूँ, I'm happy to know that you are from my party. मैं अभी टी टूटलर हूँ, और जिंदगी में पहली बार दारू पिया था नामकुम मिलिट्री हॉस्पिटल जो है ना, वहां पे
जी
मैं उस समय सेंट लुइस में 3rd ईयर में था शायद, और एक प्ले किया था उनके लिए, आर्मी
जी।
वालों के लिए, ये अम, खामोश अदालत जारी है।
हाँ
तो
हाँ, देखा हुआ है मैंने वो। हाँ,
तो बड़े खुश हुए थे वो लोग, और एक आर्मी कैप जो आर्मी मेडिकल कोर के कैप्टन से मेरी बड़ी अच्छी दोस्ती हो गई थी। तो
जी
फिर फिर फोन लिया वगैरह, और तो जब वापस आया मैंने बोला माँ मैं गया था वहां पे और क्या। तो उस जमाने में एक ही होता था, अरे कैंटीन से कुकर तो ले आते, वहां पे बड़ा सस्ता मिलता है। तो तो हमने कि ठीक है वहां पूछूंगा। तो मैंने फोन किया कि भाई ऐसा है कि मुझे मेरी माँ का ये है कि कुकर सस्ता मिलता है, तो क्या मैं बोला हाँ हाँ आ जाओ आ जाओ। और गुड गुड यू कॉल मी, मेरी पोस्टिंग हो गई आसाम में, तो कम 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 हैव अ लंच, कम लंच फॉर लंच। मैं गया, और सैटरडे था तो मैं गया, साइकिल चला के गया हूँ। तो बहुत वॉर में कल होता है, जैसे कि वो हॉस्पिटैलिटी में, तो भाई आर्मी वालों की और डिफेंस वालों की तो कोई कोई मतलब कंपैरिजन ही नहीं है। तो बोले हाँ चलो विल हैव लंच। तो उसके बाद बोला अच्छा व्हाट ड्रिंक शुड है, बोला कुछ भी जूस लस्सी वगैरह। तो सब लोग हंसने लगे, सारे ऑफिसर्स हंसने लगे। तो मैंने कहा बोला क्यों, मैं बोलो क्या वो इसके क्या भी है अभी। तो मैंने कहा नहीं नहीं मैं तो पीता ही नहीं। तो सब हंसने। फिर उसने बड़ी सेंटिमेंटल लाके बोला, बोला हम यार आर्मी वाले हैं, हमारी जान की पता नहीं कब मिले, कल को हम जा रहे हैं पोस्टिंग में, कभी मिले ना मिले, हमारी जान की कोई पता नहीं, हमारी जिंदगी के लिए एक जान तो बनता है। अब यार धर्म संकट में पड़ गया, यार क्या अब ना हाँ बोला जाए ना बोला जाए। फिर मैंने एक वो कंडीशन रखी कि ठीक है मैं पीऊंगा, बोला अभी वो वेरी माइल्ड ड्रिंक, लेडीज ड्रिंक कहते क्या, अभी तक याद है, लाइम कोर्डियल का कुछ ऐसा था, कुछ बताया उसने। तो मैंने कहा ठीक है पीऊंगा, बट विथ वन कंडीशन, अगर मुझे अच्छा लगा तो एक क्या 10 पी जाऊंगा, और अगर अच्छा नहीं लगा then I'm going to spit it before your eyes and you're not going to feel bad about it. बोला yeah done you love it। और बिलीव मी पिया तो जैसे लगा कि वो जो नीम का जो पानी होता है कड़वा एकदम लगा, करेला ऐसा पानी लगा। मैं उसके सामने गया और बेसी में थूक दिया, और कुल्ला उल्ला कर के एकदम मुंह बना के आया। मतलब ये जो पहला इंट्रोडक्शन इतना कड़वा है, लोग कैसे उस पर एडिक्टेड हो जाते हैं। मतलब रसगुल्ला उसको इसलिए मैं खाता हूँ, मजा आता है खाने में, जो पहला ही कड़वा है, जो इंट्रोडक्शन ही खराब है, तो कैसे उससे हाउ कैन यू गेट इट मैरिड टू दैट काइंड ऑफ थिंग। बड़ा फिर हंस लेवल ठीक है। फिर बाद में उन्होंने जूस दिया, फिर मैं जूस पिया एंड ऑल दैट। सो दैट वाज माय फर्स्ट था। वो गया लेकिन हलक से नीचे नहीं उतरा, उसको वापस फेंकना पड़ा। सो आई थॉट कि आई विल शेयर दिस विद ऑल ऑफ द फ्रेंड्स दैट टी ट्यूटोरियल का क्या हाल होता है वैसे महफिलों में।
हम भी
और बाद में
भोगी हैं भाई।
ये हुआ कि जब हम प्ले करने लगे, जब बाद में बॉम्बे आया, तो नसीर साहब ने स्पेशली ही मेड अ पॉइंट, अरे उस पंडित के लिए 2 गोल्ड कॉइन मंगवा कर रखना। गोल्ड कॉइन एक एप्पल जूस होता था, वो देखने में विस्की जैसा लगता था। तो मैं क्या होता था उसको गॉबलेट में डालता था, और कैमोफ्लेज के लिए 2 आइस क्यूब भी डालता था। तब कोई नहीं पूछता था कि अरे पहले होता था यू आर नॉट ड्रिंकिंग व्हाई, हमने किया यू आर ड्रिंकिंग व्हाई डिड आई आस्क यू। तो बाद में मैंने वो रखा, और कभी किसी ने नहीं पूछा कि तो आप क्यों नहीं पीते हो। वो कैमोफ्लेज चल रहा था। बट आई रियली लव्ड योर, आई विश आई कुड हैव बीन कंटिन्यू
मैंने भी ये
लिसनिंग
किया
टू
हुआ
ऑल।
है सर।
जी सर,
मैंने भी ये किया हुआ है जो आपने आपने अभी अभी
ओह
बताया, कैमोफ्लेजिंग
बिल्कुल
वाला।
चेहरा बिल्कुल वही लगता है तो लोग धोखा खा जाते हैं, तो मुझे दिक्कत नहीं, एक्सप्लेनेशन देने की जरूरत नहीं पड़ती थी। Anyway, so sorry, I'm not well, so but still, you
Thank you,
enlivened my
sir.
evening with your
Thank you for joining, sir.
thanks.
Thank you. अवधेश जी, सर आपका, I can see your hand raised.
So, nahi, first thing, you are a great storyteller. I have to tell you that. Very good. And मैं थोड़ा बहुत मैनेजमेंट लीडरशिप स्किल्स के बारे कुछ कुछ पढ़ता हूँ, कुछ करता भी हूँ, तो स्टोरी टेलिंग इज नाउ अ वेरी बिग thing to learn actually, especially in the management world and leadership development world. So इसकी skills training होती है, and you're a natural storyteller, which is excellent, and I'm very happy that I could attend your session. I was looking forward to it, so no regrets. और हाँ, एक चीज याद दिला के चले गए कुमार साहब कि hatred is the first sign of love, तो दोबारा मत कोशिश कीजिएगा। अगर पहली बार अच्छा नहीं लगा तो हो सकता है दूसरी बार अच्छा लग जाए। थैंक यू।
अब इस उम्र में क्या खाक मुसलमान होंगे?
उम्र का तकाजा नहीं चलता है, हम तो बहुत यंग है भाई।
मैं अपने बारे में कह रहा हूँ, अब क्या खाक मुसलमान होंगे?
Thank you. Very good.
Thank you, sir.
Excellent.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
अरुण सर, आपका हाथ देख रहा हूँ मैं उठा हुआ।
यहाँ तो काफी बैकग्राउंड्स के लोग हैं। गेट
जी।
और इंजीनियरिंग के बारे में शायद 2-3 लोगों को न पता हो, तो मैं बता दूं कि आपने 7 साल के बाद, 7 साल नौकरी करने के बाद गेट की परीक्षा दी और 98 to 99 परसेंटाइल आपने कहा आपको मिला। आईआईटी के लड़के आप ही के समय जो आईआईटी बीटेक करके तुरंत गेट की परीक्षा देते थे, उनमें से 95% को 98 परसेंटाइल से कम मिलता था। और आपने 7 साल के बाद मैथ्स और इंजीनियरिंग में 98-99 परसेंटाइल लिया, तो पहले तो मेरा हृदय से चरण स्पर्श स्वीकार कर लीजिए
सर।
नंबर 1। नंबर 2, फ्राइडे January the 13th 1989. Now there are 2 reasons why I would love. One reason is of course we all know why. आपकी शादी हुई थी, और दूसरा कारण है कि मेरी सबसे बड़ी बेटी जो है उसका भी जन्म फ्राइडे January 13th 1989 को हुआ था।
वाह वाह।
मैंने आज अजीब अजीब संयोग हुए हैं। झा जी भी 13th वाले ही हैं, आप तो हैं ही। So that was something really I thought I should be sharing with you people. ये 2 बातें बोलनी थी
जी।
So आपके विवाह का दिन, मेरी बड़ी बेटी के जन्म का दिन, दोनों एक ही है, दोनों एक ही है।
अच्छा, थोड़ा चेंज करूंगा सर मैं इसमें। 13 जनवरी को मैं एक्चुअली निकला था शादी करने के लिए, मेरी शादी 27 जनवरी को प्रस्थान किया था।
अच्छा
27 जनवरी को। तो उसकी भी एक कहानी है सर। मैं अपनी वाइफ को बोलता हूँ कि 26 जनवरी को भारत का संविधान लागू हुआ था, 27 जनवरी को तुम्हारा संविधान लागू हुआ।
और तीसरी बात, तो चूंकि आपसे मेरी काफी बातें फोन पर होती रही हैं, तो चाहे झा जी ने आपसे कहा या अवधेश ने कहा, तो उसमें जो इनके स्टोरी टेलिंग के स्किल की बात है, तो एक लाइन पर जो मैं जिंदगी भर विश्वास करता रहा हूं, और वो ये है, शरीर से शरीर झूठ बोलता है, झूठ बोलना उसका धर्म है, आत्मा से आत्मा झूठ नहीं बोलती है। तो जो चीजें आत्मा से निकलती हैं, फिर उनको न तो श्रृंगार की जरूरत है, न उनको स्किल की जरूरत है, न उनको ट्रेनिंग की जरूरत है। मिल जाए तो बहुत अच्छा है, लेकिन वो तो सीधे जो आत्मा से निकलती है वो सीधे आत्मा में चली आती है। तो आपके स्टोरी टेलिंग का सबसे बड़ी जो खूबसूरती है कि आप दिल से बोलते हैं। आज भी आपने दिल से ही बोला, तो हम लोगों के दिल में वो धस गया। राजेश खन्ना साहब, थैंक यू।
थैंक यू सर, थैंक यू सो मच। ओके, तो आई थिंक काफी लंबा टाइम हो गया। नाउ आई विल स्टॉप रिकॉर्डिंग एंड वी कैन कंक्लूड द सेशन।
जस्ट वन लाइन, ये तो सेशन जैसा कि मेरा सिनेमा वाला सेशन एक दिन के प्रिपरेशन में और आपके कहने से ही हुआ था। ये भी सेशन आज का अनप्लान्ड था, मेरे कहने से आपने लिया।
जी जी,
सिनेमा वाला सेशन तो कैसा हुआ मुझे नहीं पता, लेकिन आज का सेशन के बाद से हम लोग शायद ये कर सकते हैं कि अगर स्पीकर्स नहीं हमारे पास प्री प्लान्ड हो तो वी कैन हैव सेशंस लाइक दिस as often as we can, as beautiful as the poetry sessions which Jha ji had initiated. तो हम लोगों के सब लोगों के पास वाजपेयी जी की तो कहानी थे, वो भी तो 3-4 महीने के हफ्ता के बाद ही एक एक शब्द मुझे उसका याद है। तो why don't we have similar sessions? I would request with folded hands people here to come forward and take such sessions. Thank you.
तो ये रियल लाइफ से क्यों नहीं
बहुत सही है।
सबके पास कोई ना कोई कहानी, कोई क्यों, बहुत सारी कहानियां हैं सबके, सबकी जिंदगी।
झा जी तुरंत प्रॉम्प्ट किए, तो इन्होंने जो पढ़ा था, प्यार को प्यार ही रहने दो, कोई नाम न दो। तो अगली बार हम लोग कुछ नाम के आसपास की जो भी कहानियां है झा जी से सुनेंगे।
दिलीप जी ने बड़ा बढ़िया उसको सॉफ्टनेस का यूज किया था। आशुतोष ने पूछा था कि सॉफ्टनेस का नाम बता दीजिए, तो दिलीप जी ने कहा था कि नहीं, नाम तो नहीं बता सकते। तो
देखिए उस पे
सब लोगों ने, नहीं एक मिनट त्रिवेदी जी, एक मिनट, सब लोगों ने रियलाइज किया होगा कि जब मेरे बात के बाद झा जी ने कुछ कहा, तो दिलीप त्रिवेदी का जो वो प्रेग्नेंट सप्रेस लाफ्टर था, वो भी बड़ा बहुत कुछ कह जाता है। हाँ दिलीप, प्लीज कंटिन्यू।
नहीं, मैं ये कह रहा था कि जहां तक नाम का सवाल है, तो मुझे इस मामले में एक शेर याद आता है, इजाजत हो तो सुनाऊं आप लोग को?
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल सर।
उमराव जान जो मुजफ्फर अली की पिक्चर थी
जी,
उसमें एक गजल थी
जी,
और उस गजल जो उसमें यूज की गई है वो उर्दू के एक माने कवि शहरयार साहब की है। तो उस गजल का एक शेर था इसी तरह का, इसी मतलब सब्जेक्ट पे। तो वो शेर कुछ इस तरह से है, तुझको रुसवा न किया खुद भी पशेमाना हुए। पशेमा मतलब शर्मिंदा। तुझको रुसवा न किया खुद भी पशेमाना हुए, इश्क की रस्म को इस तरह निभाया हमने। तो इस तरह के कितने इश्क है उनको इसी तरह से निभाना चाहिए, नाम पे जोड़ नहीं देना चाहिए।
गुड वन सर, गुड वन, वेरी।
तो त्रिवेदी जी अगली बार हम लोग आपको पशेमा ना करेंगे, आप भी नहीं होंगे आगे, तो आप समझ ही रहे हैं क्या कह रहे हैं हम लोग। तो पहले झा जी, उसके बाद दिलीप त्रिवेदी। झा जी भी लेखक हैं, पत्रकार हैं, और दिलीप तो शायर भी हैं। तो इन लोगों की जो पशेमा की कहानियां होंगी बहुत ही जबरदस्त होंगी।
जी,
कहानियां तो जिंदगी कहानियों का सिलसिला है।
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल सर। ठीक है सर, तो उसके साथ मैं रिकॉर्डिंग बंद करता हूँ। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद सब लोगों का, और फिर मिलेंगे।
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।